Hi everyone, this is Katie and welcome to this class from Linguistico. In this class, we're going to learn about the conditional tense to describe what you would do in hypothetical situations. Hypothetical situations are events that have not happened yet. Okay, so these events are imaginary. They could happen or they might not. So in order to talk about these events, we need to use the conditional tense. We'll practice using this tense to talk about imaginary events in the past, the present, and the future. It's important to know how to use this grammatical structure because many times you might be asked what you would do in a certain situation. So for example, maybe you're talking with your friends and they want to know what you would do in a certain situation. Or in a job interview, it's very common for your potential boss to ask you, what would you do if... Okay, so there are many people, especially in the job realm, that will ask you what you would do in a hypothetical situation. Okay, so in this lesson, we're going to learn the grammatical rules that we need to talk about these hypothetical situations. And then we're going to watch a television show called What Would You Do? That places people into difficult situations to see how they react. All right, so let's get started. Okay. All right, so like I mentioned, this is going to talk about what you would do in difficult situations. There is a television show, like I mentioned, called What Would You Do? Okay. And sometimes with your friends, we ask people, what would you do if this happened? Or what would you do if that happened? Okay. Or sometimes if you're asking for advice, we also use that conditional tense. What would you do if you were in my situation? What would you do if someone talked to you like that? Right? So I have a PowerPoint to share with you guys to talk about this a little bit more in depth. Okay, so the PowerPoint mostly focuses on grammar since this is an intermediate grammar class, but then we'll make things a little bit more fun when we start watching the TV show. Okay, this is a TV show that I think is very interesting because it has people who are actors and they are meant to do something that is controversial, that is not normal. But the other people in the TV show don't know that the people are actors. So for example, if you go to a store and one customer is being very mean and he's yelling, he's an actor, but the people in the store don't know that he's an actor. Okay, so it's kind of a social experiment to see how people react. Okay, and to ask people, what would you do in this situation? Okay, so the PowerPoint, I'm gonna have to share the entire screen, so just bear with me for a second while I do this. All right. For some reason, if I just screen share the PowerPoint slide, it doesn't show. All right, so since I have this screen shared, if you come into class late, please just turn on your microphone and tell me hello. That way I know that you are in class. Okay, so like we mentioned, this PowerPoint is about the conditional tense. What would you do? Okay, so if we have a hypothetical statement, this refers to something that hasn't happened yet. Okay, and so in a hypothetical statement, the second part or the second clause always depends on the first. And it's usually something that is unlikely or impossible. So for example, if I say, If I had a nickel for every time I lost my glasses, so that's our first part, and we see that our second part depends on the first. I would be rich. Okay, but I would only be rich if I had a nickel for every time I lost my glasses. And so you can see that the second clause depends on the first. So the second clause is only true if the first event happens. Okay, so this is a hypothetical statement. It's something that has not happened yet, and it might happen, but we don't know. So if I had a nickel. This is also a common expression in American English to say, if I had a nickel for every time, da 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 da. And it means that something happens frequently. Okay, so for example, if I say that my students don't turn in their homework, I said, man, if I had a nickel for every time someone didn't turn in homework, I would be rich. Or if I lose my cell phone a lot, I could say, if I had a nickel for every time I lost my cell phone, I would be rich. Okay. So this is just a phrase, an idiom that we have in American English. If I had a nickel for every time something happened, I would be rich. Okay, let's look at the next couple examples. If John liked hamburgers, I would invite him to McDonald's. Right, so we notice that the second part of the sentence depends on the first, and that's why it's a hypothetical statement. Okay, so I would only invite John to McDonald's if he liked hamburgers. So if John liked hamburgers, I would invite him to McDonald's. All right, and then the last one, if Justin Bieber never became famous, then the world would be a better place. I don't know if that's true or not, but notice again, because it's a hypothetical statement, the second clause depends on the first. Okay, so the world would be a better place, but only if Justin Bieber never became famous. So if Justin Bieber never became famous, then the world would be a better place. So just remember, your hypothetical statement is about something that hasn't happened yet, and the second clause always has to depend on the first. Okay, so let's see if you can pick out the factual statements versus the hypothetical statements. So which is which? If it rains on Tuesday, I'll be sad. If it rains on Tuesday, I'll be sad. Right, this is a hypothetical statement, okay, because it has to depend on the other clause. What about it always rains on Tuesday? Is this a factual statement or a hypothetical statement? I think I hear someone in class. Let me see. Ben, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, so how are you doing, Ben?
Great.
Great, excellent. I'm not sure if you heard the beginning of class, Ben, but this class is going to talk about things that you would do. So we're going to be talking about a tense called the conditional tense. Have you ever heard of the conditional tense before?
No.
No? Okay. So we're going to learn a little bit about that, and then we are going to watch a video, a TV series from the United States called What Would You Do? And so we're going to talk about what we would do in some difficult situations.
Okay.
Okay, excellent. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to screen share with you again. I'm not sure how much you heard, but let me share this PowerPoint. Oops. Okay. All right, so if we have a hypothetical statement, have you ever heard this term before? A hypothetical statement?
I don't think so.
Okay. If something is hypothetical, it means that it hasn't happened yet. Okay, so for example, a hypothetical statement, um, it refers to something that is imaginary. Okay, so it might happen in the future, but we don't know. Okay, so and it usually refers to something that is unlikely or impossible. So,
Okay.
right. So, for example, let's look at the last sentence first. If Justin Bieber never became famous, then the world would be a better place. Okay, so the second clause depends on the first. Okay, so if Justin Bieber never became famous is our clause. But this statement, sorry, let me explain that again. The world would be a better place, but only if Justin Bieber never became famous. So the second part of the sentence depends on the first. Does that make sense?
A little.
A little. And we'll give some more examples of this too. These statements usually start with if, okay, as you can see. And do you think that this is true, Ben? If Justin Bieber never became famous, then the world would be a better place?
Probably, yeah.
Probably. I agree. Okay. And we'll look at some examples of this before we start using it. I think that when we see the videos, everything will kind of come together.
Okay.
Uh-huh. All right, and then so for this one, Ben, can you read the second sentence for me?
If John liked hamburgers, I will invite him to McDonald's.
Exactly. Right. So you can see that this is a hypothetical statement, okay, because we're talking about something imaginary. So if John liked hamburgers, okay, so that's something that is kind of imaginary, then I would invite him to McDonald's. Okay, but I would only invite him if he liked hamburgers. Okay, and then can you read the first sentence for me too?
If I had a nickel for every time I lost my glasses, I would be rich.
Uh-huh. And have you ever heard this statement before, Ben? If I had a nickel for every time something
Yeah,
happened? Have you?
yeah.
Yes. And so if you say this statement, do you say this with things that happen a lot or with things that don't happen very often?
Happened a lot.
Right, so happen a lot. So for example, um, what is something that you do a lot? That if you had a nickel for every time that it happened, you would be rich.
Um, if I had a nickel for every time I get confused with English, I will be rich.
Sorry, I couldn't hear the first part. So every time that you had something with English?
I get confused.
Oh, so every time, if I had a nickel for every time that I got confused with English, I would be rich. Okay?
Yeah.
Right. I can say the same thing for Spanish. If I had a nickel for every time I got confused with Spanish, I would be rich too. Right, so don't worry. It's normal to be confused sometimes. Okay? All right, so then now I want you to help me figure out which of these are factual statements, so things that are talking about things that are real, and things that are hypothetical statements. So for example, the first one, if it rains on Tuesday, I'll be sad. Is that a hypothetical statement or a factual statement?
Factual.
Let's see, because if you look at this, the second clause depends on the first. So if it rains on Tuesday, are we sure that it's going to rain on Tuesday?
No.
Right, so is this factual or hypothetical?
Mm, I guess hypothetical. If it
Right,
rains on
so
Tuesday, I'll be sad. That's. I think I thought it was a fact because if it rains, it's sure that I'll be sad.
Oh, that's true. I think it might be kind of confusing how I worded that. Right. So, right, I understand what you're saying, Ben. Um, but like the first part, if it rains on Tuesday, so let's forget about the last part because I think you're right in your reasoning. But just the first part, if it rains, like we said, that would be hypothetical because we're not sure that it's going to happen.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, right. And so this is different than it always rains on Tuesday. Okay, so this one right here, it always rains. Would that be factual or hypothetical?
Factual.
Factual, right. Okay. And then what about this next one down here? The Browns, which is a football team, will win the football game.
Mm, it depends.
Hmm. Right. So this one could kind of depend. Um, this one I would say is factual because it doesn't have that clause that depends on the other. So if you look at the one underneath it, if the Browns win tomorrow, it'll be a miracle. So you see in this sentence that one part of the sentence depends on the other. Like it will
Yeah.
be a miracle, right? But only if the Browns win.
Okay.
Uh-huh. So we're going to look at the grammar behind this because we're going to be talking about things that we would do in certain situations. So we're just going to take a look at the grammar and then we're going to practice and then watch the videos and comment. Okay, so if you look at the first part of these hypothetical statements, what tense is the verb in? If I had, if John liked, if Justin Bieber never became.
Past.
Oh, right. So it's in the simple past. Okay. And then what about the next verb? I would be rich. I would invite. The world would be.
Mm, I don't know.
Okay, this is a verb tense called the conditional. So the
Oh,
conditional um, just describes any verb with the word would, right? So I would be rich. I would do this. I would invite him. So we just call this the conditional tense.
okay.
Uh-huh. And then let's see, and we'll just talk about this second point down here. All right, so the way that we talk about hypothetical events is that we always put the first verb back 1/10. Okay, so so for example, let's look down at the present events. Okay, so the second arrow, if the Bulls won another championship, Roberto would drive into Chicago for the celebration. Okay, so we're talking about something that's happening in the present. Okay, so the Bulls could win another championship. Okay, so since it's something that's about the present, we're going to put the first verb back into the past. So if the Bulls won another championship.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Okay, and then can you read the last sentence on the page for me?
If he were a good friend, he will buy the tickets for me.
Uh-huh, exactly. And what is that second verb? What is that tense in? Or sorry, not the second, the first one. If he were.
Um, are is.
Right, so this is a form of is, and this one is a little strange because when we're talking about hypothetical events, we always say were. Okay, so we don't use the word was. So for example, I would say if I were a good student, I would study more. Or if he were a good friend, he would buy the tickets for me. So we always use the word were. We never use was.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Let's see. And then so what? Or let's see. And then so for the future events, um, so if we specify a time, so this is at the top of the screen. if we talk about a time like tomorrow or next week or next Friday, next month, okay, if we say a time word like that in the future, okay, so we're talking about the future, then our first verb has to be in the present. Okay, so if the Bulls win the game tomorrow, then they will be champions again. Okay, so the first verb is in the present. And then what is the second one in? They will be.
Future?
Right, in the future, exactly. So I know this might sound kind of strange, but just to think that your first verb always goes back 1/10. So for example, if we're talking about the future, like tomorrow, next week, next Saturday, then we put the first verb back into the present. And then for the present events, we put it back into the past, like if the Bulls won. Okay, and we'll practice some just to kind of get that down. Okay.
Okay.
So we kind of have to be careful with looking at the second part of the sentence for these exercises. Okay, so because if you have the second part of the sentence and it has will be or will in a verb, what tense are you going to have to use for the first verb?
Present?
Exactly. All right, so what about the first one of this? If I, or let's see. Oh, whoops, this is I forgot that I had the answers in here. 1 second. Sorry about that, Ben. Let me slide share this again.
Okay.
I'm having some technical difficulties. Let's see. Sometimes I have some problems with it sharing on the slide. Let's see. Okay, let me try this again. Okay, can you see this, Ben?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. All right, so for the first one, I just want you to put in the verb to complete this hypothetical statement. Okay, so what would be the word that we put in here? If I...
Go?
Right, so if I go to school tomorrow, I'll be very unhappy. What about the second one? And could you read the sentence for me, please?
If we had a snow day,
Oh, whoops. I accidentally have the answer in there. Whoops. Right. So I would be. I didn't realize that the answer was there. Okay, so if we had a snow day, I would be very excited.
Yeah.
And in what country did you say that you were from? Ben, I think that, was it Bolivia or?
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you ever have snow days in Bolivia?
Sometimes.
Sometimes? Great.
Yeah. Very rare.
So, oh, in February.
Yeah. June. It's crazy here.
Oh, so you actually do get snow. What part of Bolivia do you get snow in?
In the accident.
Okay, so when there's a lot of snow, you get accidents, like on the
No,
road?
in the accident part.
Oh, in the Occident.
Yeah.
So like in the northern part, the Occidental, or no, Occidental. Right, so in the
Yeah.
Occidental part. Excellent. Right, and when when you have lots of snow in Bolivia, do they ever cancel school?
No, not really.
Oh, that's that's too
It
bad.
depends. It depends. It depends how bad it is.
Hmm. Right, so it depends on how bad it is. That's how it is in the United States too, but where I live in the northern part of the United States, we have lots of snow days for public schools because there is lots of snow. and it's hard to drive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, excellent. That's interesting. I didn't know that it snowed in Bolivia. Okay. Let's see. And then so the third one down, Ben, if Justin Bieber stopped singing the world, and so what would we have to say here? So
Well, we'll shout.
excellent. Right. So the world would shout for joy. And then if I don't finish my report, my boss.
Is going to kill me.
Yeah, you can say that. Excellent. So you can say my boss will kill me or my boss is going to kill me. And then if I won the lottery, I.
Will buy.
Excellent. Would buy a yacht. Um, if I don't study for the test, oh, whoops, I accidentally wrote the answer for that one too. So this would have to be the future. Like I'll get a bad grade or I will get a bad grade. I'm going to get a bad grade. And then what about the last one here? If I won the scholarship, I
will be. Will be.
Let's see, the first verb is in the past tense. So what is our second verb going to have to be in?
Present. I'll be.
Let's see. So if we look here, if our first verb is in the present, then the second one is in the future. But if the first verb is in the past, then we have to use this would verb structure. So one, the first verb, one, is this a present or a past tense verb? One.
Past.
Right, the past. So what would we have to say? Not I will be, but I. Right, excellent. Okay, so I would be very happy. Okay. Okay, so I want to ask you a couple questions before we watch our video. And these are just silly hypothetical situations. Okay, and some of the things that you might do are on the right-hand side, but you can say anything. Okay, so for example, Ben, what would you do if Justin Bieber came to your house?
Look for somewhere safe to stay.
Okay, so I would look for somewhere safe to stay. Okay, so we're gonna have to say would look for.
Okay.
And then Ben, what would you do, or do you want to ask me a question?
If your ex-girlfriend or boyfriend called you.
Oh, if my ex-boyfriend called me, I would hang up the phone.
Okay.
Not really, but I would probably answer. Okay. What would you do if zombies invaded Earth?
I will act calmly.
Okay, so I would act calmly. Excellent. And one thing too, to just to mention, the word would. I know that it has an L in there, but we actually don't pronounce it, so we just say would.
I would.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then, do you want to ask me another question, Ben?
If your boss fired you without any warning.
If my boss fired me without any warning, I would act calmly, but I would be very upset.
Okay.
See, did we get all of them, or is there one that we didn't say?
If your friend ate all your food.
Right. So what would you do, Ben, if your friend ate all your food?
I would yell at him.
You would yell at him.
Probably.
Excellent. Right. Has that ever happened to you before, where a friend ate all of your food?
Not that I can recall.
Not like you can recall. That's good. Let's see. Oops. Okay, so let me exit out of here. Okay. And one thing that I wanted to mention too before we watch our video is that we can also use this would construction when we're giving advice. Okay, so for example, if I say, oops, testing, test. Sorry, I was with my microphone. If I said, you know, I'm in a really difficult situation with my boyfriend, I don't know what to do. And if you want to give advice, you could say, I would talk to him, or I would break up with him. So anytime that we, sometimes when we're giving advice, we use this structure as well. So Ben, for example, what would you, like, let's say that I am having a very difficult time in class. What would you recommend?
Mm, I
Oh, oops,
will.
1 second, Ben. I can't hear you for some reason. Oh, sorry, now I can hear you. Sorry, Ben. I had my volume down and I didn't realize it.
Okay. I will try to relax by counting to 10.
Okay, so you can say, I would try to relax by counting to 10. Um, Anything else?
Mm, it depends on the situation. I don't know.
Right, so it depends on the situation. Right, so just to let you know, though, we use that a lot with advice. And sometimes we say, if I were you, I would. So, for example, if you are having a difficult time, I could say, well, Ben, if I were you, I would relax. I would count to 10. Okay.
Okay.
Um, can you think of any other situation where someone would give advice using this structure?
Mm, what would you do if your boss harass you?
Oh, good question. What would you do if your boss harassed you? If my boss harassed me, I would try to talk to human resources. What would you do?
If I were you, I would try to find a good lawyer.
Good, excellent. Right. So you're giving advice. If I were you, I would try to find a good lawyer. Excellent. Um, let's see. Let's say that someone lost their wallet. What advice would you give them if they lost their wallet with all of their money in it?
If I were you, I would call my credit company and
Uh-huh.
cancel all my credit cards.
Excellent. Right. So if I were you, I would call the credit company and cancel all of my cards. Right? Because sometimes people will use them and then you lose your money. Um,
Yeah.
can you think of anything else?
Um, what would you do if you forgot your boyfriend's birthday?
If I forgot my boyfriend's birthday?
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. So let's pretend that that we have a friend that forgot their boyfriend's birthday and she is asking us for advice. We could say, if I were you, I would go to the store right now and buy him a card or a gift. What would you do? Or what
Um,
advice would you give?
uh, I'll try to. I don't know. Never happened to me.
Right. It never happened to me either. Right. That would be hard. Um, right. But those are some things that we can do. Hopefully, it never happens in the future.
Yeah.
Right. Uh-huh. But that would be a suggestion. If I were you, I would buy him a present. If I were you, I would lie and say I thought today was a different day. Okay, so there are some different things that you can do.
Okay.
All right, so let me pull up this video. Let's see. Whoops. I think this is the one that I want on the bottom. Okay, so this video that we're gonna watch is called "What Would You Do?" All right, and this is kind of a strange TV show because they have actors who do very controversial situations, but the people don't know that they are actors. Okay, so I'll show you so we can see. Okay, so
Okay.
okay, so like I mentioned, these people are actors, okay, and they go into a public place and they want to see how the other people react. Okay, so what was this
Okay.
video? Do you know what this situation is going to be about? They mentioned it a little bit at the beginning, but I'm not sure if
I
you.
didn't see. I didn't see anything.
Okay. Oh, you did.
I don't
Can you
know.
see? Let's see. Ben, do you have the YouTube application?
Yeah, it's open actually,
Okay. So
but
but so
I
you
don't
can
see
see the
anything.
video.
Yeah, I'm gonna open again.
Okay. So right. So I just want to make sure that that you're not having any technical difficulties with the video. So can you see and hear the video?
No,
No. Um, can you
this
see
is
the
what
video?
is on my screen. I open
Okay,
it
let me see. Yeah, go
and
ahead.
nothing goes on.
Huh, that's strange. Let me see. Are you sure that you have the YouTube application?
Yeah,
The
it's
YouTube
here.
app?
I don't know.
It's there.
That's the app. There you go. Nothing.
Mhm. Let me see if I can screen share with you really fast to see what it looks like on my screen to see if I can help you out. Because I've never had that happen before. Let's see. Okay, so I don't know if you can see on my screen. I have it on the left-hand side, and
Yeah.
there's a little button that says YouTube right here. Okay, so for example, if I don't click on that, if I click on it, it should come up. And then if you don't have it, you can go here to add app.
Can you see on my screen?
Let me see.
This this is the YouTube app, and when I click it, it's
Mhm.
uh, a black screen. I don't know, but
Right,
it's
huh?
here.
It is a black screen. I'm not sure why that's happening. Um,
Probably my computer bad. I'm sorry.
that's okay. Let me see if I can fix that. If we can't, I'll just give you the link to the video and we can kind of watch it together. That's strange that it's not working though.
I
Hmm.
can watch it on your screen.
Okay, I'm not sure if you can hear it though if it's on my screen.
Oh, your headphones. Okay. Mm, yeah.
Uh-huh. So right. So I can send you the link. Let me try it one more time and see if it works. Um, oops. All right. So let's try one more time, and then if it doesn't work, I'll just share the link with you. Let's see, and we'll see if this works in yours or not. Yeah, and it's still not coming up in yours, is it?
No.
Let's see. All right. So let me send you the link, and I'll try to ask technical support and see why that might
Yeah,
not
it's
be
probably on my
working.
computer. Yeah, because it's there, but it doesn't. On other apps, uh,
Huh, right. I'm not sure why that's like that either. Right. I'll ask our
maybe if I
IT.
reboot my computer, but it's gonna take a while.
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure what. Sometimes I've had problems with Google Hangouts too. Sometimes if you restart your computer, it works. But I'll just give you the link. So let me see. Okay, so if you go to the link on the side, you can just watch about the first, let me see, the first 30 seconds. Okay, and then we'll talk. And then I'll just play it on here too. That way the people who are watching on Google Hangouts can hear it. Okay, so you can stop it right there for now, Ben. Okay, so like I mentioned, these are actors, and they go into public places to see what people would do in certain
Uh, I
situations.
I have seen this show before. I think
Oh,
so.
you've seen it before.
Yeah,
Where did you
yeah,
see
it's
it?
funny on
Uh-huh.
cable.
Okay.
This channel, I don't remember the channel. Comedy Central, something like that.
Okay. Have you seen this particular episode before?
I don't know. They're very similar, the customers, and they try to annoy you until you can't take it anymore.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so the people are trying to annoy others and then they want to see how they react. And so for this particular video, what are they going to do? What is this video about?
Um, as people who talk like that.
Exactly. Right. So in English we say stutter. So when someone
Stutter.
stutters,
Yeah.
so that's talking like that, right? Where they kind of get tripped up on their words. They say like I want an ice cream cone or something. Okay. So right. And so um, we have someone in the store who stutters. And where is she at?
Um, I'm not sure. A bakery?
Okay, it might be a bakery. I think we'll see later on in the video where exactly she's at. Okay, and okay, so let's talk about what we would do. Okay, so let's say that what would you do if you were in a store with someone who stutters and they're taking a really long time?
Mm, I try to be patient.
Okay, so I would try to be patient.
I will try to
How
be.
do you uh, how do you think the other people would react?
It depends if you have, I don't know, if you're in a hurry.
Uh-huh. Okay, so right, it does depend on if you're in a hurry. Okay, so for example, if someone is in a hurry, how would they react?
Um, they probably get annoyed quite easily.
Okay, so they would probably get annoyed. Um, so what do you think would happen more? Do you think people would get annoyed, or do you think more people would be patient?
I think more people will be patient.
Uh-huh. I think so too. Let's see if we're right. Okay, so you can play the next 30 seconds or so of the video, and I'll play it on here too.
Okay.
Okay, so the first person you see, um, so you see the people with the actors who are being very mean to this girl. And what does the first person do? The girl in the green shirt.
She's uh, hmm, she's sympathetic
Right. So she's
to her.
sympathetic.
Yeah,
Right, exactly. So she's sympathetic to her, and what does she do? So she's sympathetic, and what does
she
she say?
tries. Uh, she tries to defend her.
Right, yeah. So she tries to defend her and say, don't bully her, don't don't make fun of her. And why do you think that she acted this way?
She's a nice person, probably.
Okay, so she's probably a nice person. Um, right, I think. Let's see. Right, so she's probably a nice person, and she probably understands that it's hard for the other person. Um, So, for example, if someone was at an ice cream shop in Bolivia and they stuttered and they were taking a long time, what would people do? Do you think it would be different in Bolivia? Do you think people would still stand up for her?
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
Hmm. And why do you think that?
It's the right thing to do.
Okay, great. Yeah, it's the right thing to do, and hopefully people understand that. Okay, so we're just kind of look at some different clips from this TV series. Okay, so that was the first one with someone who is stuttering at an ice cream shop, and what would you do in that situation? The next one is kind of interesting. Let me get the link, and I'll post it. I think this is the right video. Let me check. Okay, so let me see if this is the right link. Okay, so you can watch about the first 30 seconds and then we'll discuss and then we'll just keep watching it and discussing.
Okay.
Okay, and we'll see what you would do in a situation like this.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm not sure. You could probably watch about another 30 seconds of it because I don't think it really talked yet about what the video is about. Okay, so watch about another 30 seconds and then pause and we will talk.
Okay.
Okay, so we can stop about right there. Okay, so
Okay.
what is this hypothetical situation about? What would you do if what?
What would you do if you? Uh, what would you do if someone arrives you for being fat?
Right, yeah. So what would you do if someone argues with you or discriminates against you for being fat? Okay, so what's happening in this video? There's a woman, and where is she at?
Uh, Restaurant.
She's at a restaurant, and it's a special type of restaurant. Do you know what kind of restaurant?
Buffet.
Right. And so,
Chateau
how
buffet.
is a buffet? Sorry, go ahead.
Chateau. I forgot the name of the restaurant. Chateau something.
Oh,
Sorry.
right. I didn't see the name. But so how is a buffet different than a normal restaurant?
You can eat a lot of it, and you
Right. So
can
you can eat a lot of
and you can
food.
eat. Yeah. Sorry.
Uh-huh. Right, exactly. Yeah, sorry, I think there's a little bit of a delay in the audio. Um, so Ben, when you go to a buffet, um, what do you eat? Do you eat a lot, a little? Do you try a
Honestly,
little bit?
I have never been to a buffet.
Oh,
Unfortunately.
really?
Yeah. Sorry. Never had the
Are
chance.
they right? So they are they very common in Bolivia?
Not really.
Oh, interesting. In the
There's these
United States,
places that you call rodizos,
uh-huh.
but it's just meat and
Oh,
desserts, I
right,
think. Yeah,
right. So,
but
um,
I haven't been there either, so I can't.
excellent.
Yeah, I
Right.
can't.
So like you said in Bolivia, there's things called rodizos, which are like buffets for meat, but you've
Yeah,
never been to one.
no, unfortunately, no.
Ah,
Someday
too
maybe.
bad. Uh-huh. And okay, so you've never been to a buffet before. They're very common in the United States. But what do you think would happen if, for example, in Bolivia, there is a buffet and there is an overweight woman who is eating lots of food?
Mm, and if she's just eating, and I don't think anything
Okay, so
goes
I don't think, uh-huh. Right, so I don't think that anything would go on
will
since we're
go
talking.
on. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Right. So do you think that people would make fun of her, or do you think that people would just mind their own business?
I don't think they make fun of her to her face. Maybe at his back.
Right. Okay. So right. So we have a phrase behind his or her back.
Yeah,
Right. So you think they would be nice in person, but then they would make fun of her behind her back.
probably. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And what do you think? So, and then what do you think that the people are going to do in this video?
Uh, well, I don't know. There was this lady that she's being mean, apparently.
Uh-huh. Right. So we have the actor who's being mean.
Yeah.
And how do you think the other people are going to react?
Mm, probably is gonna defend her.
Okay. Right. So let's see if that's true and see if she does get defended. All right. So we'll watch like the next 30 seconds. Okay. So so let's stop at right about right there. Oops. Let's see. Oops. All right. So what happened up until that point, Ben? Um, So we have the lady who's at the restaurant, and who is the person who's being really mean to her? There are several people, but who's one
I'm sorry.
person that's being mean? Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, I keep watching. Sorry.
That's okay.
You were
Um,
saying?
right. So who are some of the people that are being mean to this lady?
And the two actors.
So the two actors.
Um,
And
yeah, just the two actors, I think.
right. And one of the actresses is actually pretending to be the waitress. Did you notice that?
I don't think she's pretending to be the waitress. I think she's trying to tell usually this because it's healthy, but I think she's just a customer. Although she called the manager, so yeah, probably
Oh,
she's
actually, yeah.
pretending. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. Because at a buffet, they usually don't have waiters because you just go up and get the food. So
Yeah,
you're right. Um, but what were some of the things that they said to this lady who was overweight?
then she tried to eat healthy.
Right. So one person said that she should try to eat healthy, and she gave her healthy food.
Yeah,
Um, but then what did the one woman do? The woman with the baseball cap?
I think he's a man, but
I'm not
he
sure if
has
it's a
a
man
high.
or a woman.
I think he has a high pitch voice. I thought he was a lady, but then I look at him. That's why I keep looking, and he's a man.
Yeah, I'm not sure actually. Let's go with him being a man then. Okay, so we'll say what did he do?
He felt offended.
Uh-huh. Right. So he felt offended, and what did he do?
Well, first I think she tried to pick a fight because he stands up and tried to confront the mean lady, and
Uh-huh.
then she controlled himself and sit down again and wait and keep listening. Then he can take it, and she tells the other lady, who's an actress also, to call the manager, and then just try to explain. But that's where I cut the video.
Right. Yeah. So we're just kind of watching like short portions of each video, so we have time to discuss them. But yeah, so she almost kind of tried to pick a fight with the lady who was being mean because she was not happy with how she was being treated. And Ben, would you do the same thing as this person, or would you react differently?
Mm, I would probably act differently.
Uh-huh. And what would you do?
Uh, I think I just keep quiet, and I, I don't want to say ignore it, but I don't. I wouldn't like to pick a fight in that situation.
Uh-huh. Right, exactly. I think I would do the same thing as you. I wouldn't want to pick a fight, and I would probably just stay quiet.
Yeah.
Uh, Great. That's what I would do. We don't have time to show the other videos, but there were some other topics in the other videos that I want to see what you would do in that situation. One of the topics is what would you do if you saw a couple where the woman is very young and the man is very old? What would you do?
The woman is very old. But it depends. Are they doing something, or they're just holding hands, or what?
I think in the video they're just holding hands,
They're just holding
but
hands.
some people are being mean to them because there's a big age difference.
Um, and this happens in a restaurant, in a park,
I think it's in a park.
in a park. Okay. Um, I'll I'll probably yeah I think I keep walking. But if it's someone I know, that will be different.
Okay, and what would happen if it were someone that you knew? So if let's say if the girlfriend of this man were someone that you knew, what would you do?
Um, well, I probably step up and say, back off, but I don't know if I will be comfortable with the situation that she is dating an older man or a younger man. I don't know the case.
So you said that you would or you wouldn't be comfortable?
Um, I don't think I will be comfortable. Either way,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It depends if the age difference is way too much.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I
I
mean, if
think,
it's
yeah.
just 10 years, it's okay, but I know 40, 50 years, maybe too
Right.
much.
Then it's kind of, then it's a
Yep.
lot. Right. I don't know what I would do. I think if it were my friend and it was a big age difference, like 20 or 30 years, I would probably talk to her in private and ask her why she has that
Why?
relationship.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, me too.
uh, another video was about a woman who was in a public place, I think at a mall, and she was yelling at her child who was very young, and she was spanking him, like hitting him because he was misbehaving. What would you do? Would you be quiet? Would you talk to the mom?
Mm, I would probably say, yeah, lady, you should try to control yourself and stop hurting your child. Actually, I just saw that in the news a day ago, and there's this lady who happens to be drunk,
Mm-hmm.
and she starts fighting with his husband, and she throws a chair at him and knocked him to the floor. Then people, react and say, "Hey, lady, stop doing this!" And the lady gets really angry and starts kicking her little child.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, and so all the people gather up around her and tell her, you try to protect the child, and she started fighting with everyone until the police
Oh
came. And
goodness.
yeah, it was a big mess, but yeah, in that situations, I think it's better, to not intervene because it can get messy. But I don't know, what would you do?
Right. What would I do? Hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I would probably call the police. If she were actually hurting her child, I would call the police or try to get the police there as fast as possible. What would you do?
Uh, in the time that the police came, I think I tried to hold her, but you can get hurt. Here, people are kind of violent, especially if they're
Mhm.
drunk. And plus, she was a woman, so I don't know. It's complicated, I guess.
Right, it is complicated, right?
Yeah,
Because
you try to do the right thing, but sometimes I remember this story. I don't know. I think we don't have time, but there's this guy who tried to help this lady who was fighting with her husband, and then both her lady and the husband start beating him up. So yeah, so he was trying to help her, but ended up beaten by both of them.
oh wow, so he tried to help, but then he got beaten up by
He
both of the
both
women.
of them. So yeah, yeah. Sometimes here it's crazy, especially when people are
Okay.
drunk.
Right, that's true, and that's something that you kind of have to ask yourself, like, what would I do in this situation? I would want
Yeah,
to help, but I wouldn't want to get hurt.
yeah. Actually, I've seen a couple of times that, and I just stay in my car and you know try to not get involved
Mhm.
because
Right, and
yeah.
that's happened to me too, where sometimes I see something, but I don't get involved because I don't want to get hurt. Right, so that's something that we have to take into account too. And we're out of time for today, Ben, but
Yeah.
Right. But did you feel like this class maybe helped you talk about hypothetical situations, imaginary situations like this?
Yeah, yeah, it was funny and
Right. I'm glad
instructive.
that you. Oh, sorry, I didn't hear the last part.
Uh, it was funny and instructive.
Okay, excellent. And then if you want to give me feedback, you can go to your dashboard too and say, what you liked about the class, what you didn't like about the class. And you can also see what classes are coming up on my profile. Okay, so thank you for coming to class and participating.
Yeah, thank you, Ati.
All right, take care. Have a nice night.
You too. Bye.
Bye.